Hey everyone, welcome to episode 211 of the Brewgooders Beer Comics Assorted Geekery podcast. I'm Jeff, to my right, but not as far as we're aware, a member of the far right. That doesn't work if there's only two of us.
No, it doesn't, Tom, no.
It's more fun if I can say like the far right, but not yet. So, you're John.
Hello.
And we should hopefully be getting joined by Stu in a wee while as well. But yeah, Stu's been very busy podcasting this week anyway. Me and Stu did 2 hours of WrestleMania chat on Tuesday, which was interesting.
Yeah. Well, for you guys, I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah, it was good. That was good fun. We did the whole thing where you have to we went through every match and chatted about what we thought, and then did like our selections of who we think's going to win. With the idea being that whoever gets the most correct answers or whoever gets the most correct results after WrestleMania this weekend will win a prize. But then most of our choices were the same, so it's like
I only know The Rock. That's it. And is he even in it?
Yeah, he's there on Saturday. Easy. If you pick him for this weekend, you'll probably get a point, I think, because he's.
I've met The Rock.
Have you?
Yeah. Won a competition when I worked at the cinema. We went into London, all expenses paid. Meet the man himself.
What was he promoting, like Jumanji or something?
This was years ago. This was Race to Witch Mountain.
Okay.
But this is before he was Dwayne Johnson at this point. It wasn't The Rock anymore. It wasn't Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He was Dwayne Johnson, and he was really skinny. So he hadn't gone back to the wrestling quite yet. So that was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. I've never seen Race to Witch Mountain. All I know about it is that it's that meme, isn't it? Where the one where he's like looking over the chair at the girl, she says something like insulting. And I know it was a remake of an older Disney film, but
yeah,
I didn't see that one either. So that's pretty cool though. I've not read it.
It's good fun.
Awesome. We're going to bring in our guest because he's drinking a beer, and so I think that would be good for the beer chatty stuff. But our guest this evening is our guest tonight is Gary Chudeigh, who is a friend of the podcast, and he's an author and screenwriter from Scotland. He does a variety of amazing stuff. He works for amazing clients, including Disney, Lego, Universal, Marvel. He's created IPs for both page and screen. He works with BHP Comics and is a co-director of BHP Studios. So working with some of our friends like Tanya Roberts as well, doing some really interesting stuff. So we're really excited to get him on. And without further ado, he's also a massive wrestling fan, and I don't think I knew that until 10 minutes ago when I was trying not to snigger because he name dropped WrestleMania and ICW in the first 10 minutes, and it's obviously WrestleMania this week, so it's obviously just in the back of his mind all week, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, here's Gary.
Hey, how you doing, guys? And
Hello.
John, I'm gathering that you're not like the wrestling fan, so I will really try to not make this totally a total wrestle fest. I will refrain. I will stay on comics, on course.
I've sat through the wrestling chat before. It's all good. It's all good.
Have you pre-ordered your tickets for the one at the Hydro yet? Not pre-ordered.
Yes. Yeah, like the pre-registration period. Oh yeah, 100% straight away. As soon as that email lands, I'll be going in trying to get the best ticket possible. But depends how pricey they are, because I heard like at Clash of the Castle, what was it, the Wales one? It was like insane for front row. So I'll need to. I don't know how pricey they'll be, but either way, I'll be in there. I'll be in there fast, man. Try to get a seat. I'm looking forward to it.
I think I'll do it. I think I'll be going for like best price rather than best seat. But I think I'm still expecting to pay £100 plus. Like it's going to be, if it's anything like, was it Money in the Bank was apparently ridiculous. Like you couldn't get a seat for Love My Money, and it was like shit seats going for like £300 and stuff. So
I was down at Money in the Bank, and it was there was a lot of pocket money, put it that way, but it was good. Put it this way, I'm glad this one is closer to home. Much happier it's closer to home.
I'm excited too. In calling it Clash of the Castle in the only city in Scotland that I don't think's got a castle is a bit odd though. But
Glasgow is the castle. That's what Rab Florence said. Glasgow is the castle.
Glasgow is the castle. Awesome. So, how you doing? How's your weekend? How's your week been? How's life?
No, I mean, really good, man. I guess, it's been the big launch of my new Kickstarter, which even though, thank you for that really kind introduction, even though I've done a lot of things in a way, this is me starting anew. Like, I've kind of found myself down a path where I've written for a lot of really great, like, children-based products and comics and that kind of thing. So it's like, this is still me building completely from scratch because I'm not really known for horror or crime. And so it's been exciting. It's been nerve-wracking, but it's been a good week. It's been a busy one, finishing up for a holiday next week. And it's like the day job is really intense and like the night comic job is really intense all in one. It always seems to clash just at the exact same time, but it's all good, man. It's all positive things, just like cracking on. And like, I'm glad that you guys like invited me here to like talk or allowed me to come on, because it's just good to talk comics and wrestling. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So do you want to tell us a wee bit about every last one?
Yeah, of course.
So like you say, it's like a total change, isn't it, from what you've been doing?
Yeah, it's a total change, and weirdly enough, it's actually closer to what I would generally naturally want to write, and closer to the kind of like entertainment that I watch in my personal time. So, most of the time I'm not sitting about watching Lego TV shows, right? But like, they pay me a decent amount to write for them. So, but I'm not generally doing it on my own back. Like on my own back, I'm, watching or reading horror, sci-fi, dark, mature-based entertainment, and I just really wanted to get back in that space. I really wanted to like write something that I was really passionate about. I've been quite lucky. I've worked professionally as a writer. Oh, there's my coupon there, man. Jeez, I need to see myself twice. Bloody hell. Right, I'm just going to cover that up. Right, and it's I just wanted to to write something that I really, really wanted to get involved in. And I've got some friends that have done really well at the Kickstarter game. You've got guys like Dave Cook who have absolutely smashed it out the park, and I'm like, man, that was inspiring to me. I'm like, I want to sort of go down that path and really make my best effort at it. And this story, it kind of came from a very weird place, right? Do you ever have one of those days when you're feeling very meditative, very reflective, and your brain starts floating different places, right? I think there was people going by my window, and I was like, oh, to me, they are nothing but passing, NPCs in my life, right? It's just a car with some people. But like, inside that car are people that are having, problems, experiences. They've got a tapestry of relationships and backstories. And I was like, there must be a word for this. So I kind of Googled how I was feeling. And there's a German word for it. Apparently, there's a German word for a lot of things, right? The Germans, they just love these words, right? And it's Sonder. So Sonder is this melancholic feeling of the realization that everyone's got intricate, complex lives, right? All that complex like thinking pretty much just resulted in, oh, what if somebody could, control or dive into somebody's mind and experience their lives? And that was like the central point for this to begin with. It's like, what if you could do that? And now it's not really that mind control or mind reading is particularly unique, but it's more just like the feeling and the thoughts led to that. And then I was like, right, so I've got this sort of idea, and what kind of fiction do I like? And again, like horror, crime. And I think at the time I was watching The Outsider, which was an HBO adaptation of a Stephen King book, and that was kind of like, it was really good, wasn't it? And it's like there's a kind of seemingly straightforward murder, but it's not straightforward. It's actually much more crazy and supernatural you could think. And I was like, right, how can I sort of pull that in? Because I like crime dramas, I like horror, and one of the biggest inspirations as well that I hadn't even thought of at the time, but the first books that got me into comics was Powers by Brian Michael Bendis and Mike Oeming, and they were superpower investigation stories. So I was kind of like bringing them together. And the focal point of the story is we've got the telepath and we've got Ronnie, who's like the sort of rookie cop. And I don't know how geographical your audience are, right? But he's pretty much a Glasgow Ned, right? That's became a homicide detective, right? You know, he's got a big chib up the side of his face. He's had pretty crappy run-ins in the past, and that makes him a bit of a pariah amongst his colleagues. He's a new detective, and he ends up teaming up with this telepath who's sort of... The ironic thing I was trying to get across with Kay was that she can control other people's actions, but she can't control her own. You know, she's going through such a sort of terrible time that she's aimlessly binge drinking.
Yeah.
And not quite fulfilling her purpose in life. So it's they have this sort of relationship, and because nobody believes them when it's like these killings aren't of like natural way. So it's about their relationship building. It's about Kay, you know, finding her purpose in life. Ronnie, you know, finding his place as a detective as they try and catch this killer. Very, very actiony, very, very dark, but also it's got a bit of Irvin Welsh in it. There's a lot of Scottish humour. I just can't help but inject humour into things. You know, it's not a comedy, but there'll be a lot of colourful Scottish language as well. Put it that way.
I think that's quite that, like you said, like you mentioned Irvin Welsh. That's very that's quite thematic of his work, though, isn't it? And I think probably to a wider degree, a lot of Scottish fiction and where it's usually quite bleak, it's usually quite dark. I'm thinking like Christopher Brookmeyer as well, and guys like that. Ian Banks, Ian Banks, where it's quite dark, but there is just that like there's that dark aspect as well. So like John Lee Sink as well, where it's like set in, you know, that
yeah. John Lee's. Me and him go way back, man. We were in the I didn't form it. He didn't form it. Somebody else did, but we were in a writers group back in 2011 when we were first starting out, giving feedback on each other's work. So I'll keep on pretending we've got a rivalry and that we'll have a big WrestleMania match one day, you know. But you make a good point.
He's a big wrestling fan as well, is Johnny.
You what? Sorry.
John's a big wrestling fan as well.
Yeah, exactly. He's a big. It always comes back to it. But yeah, and even if you think of like in Mark Miller's work, actually, it's quite often, pardon me, hyper-violence, sort of dark turning stories, but there's always a bit of comedy there. Like things like Kick-Ass is actually quite funny, but it's like sort of measured against extreme violence, you know.
No, totally, man. Totally. So what has made this process different to your process before? Like obviously, like you've worked. I think when I looked at like and following your work and seeing like some of the stuff you've done before, what have you noticed is the big differences between like putting this together and I don't know, doing Lego?
So yeah, that's a good question, man. I guess like there's a few differences, right? One is that I did start off self-publishing. Actually, it was a dark crime story, like ages ago, man. 2010, like I can't believe how long ago that was now. Me and my cousin at MCM London, you know, took out all my savings to print copies of it, thinking that you would sell thousands. So literally took down 2 suitcases full of comics to sell at a small press section, right? Sold 90, came away absolutely bummed, but everybody around me said, "No, that's actually really good." So I just didn't know the world at all, you know. But then I wrote some young adult and kids stuff, and I've got a kid as well, and that kind of led me down that path. And I'm really proud of that kind of work. And I've been working. I worked a lot with BHP Comics. They published my graphic novel series, and then I got the gig with the Lego guys. And I've always sort of, you know, in a good way, I'm always working and collaborating with others. And don't get me wrong, I'm also doing that here. Like I've got a team, I've got an editor, I've got a designer, artist, letterer, all that kind of thing. But this is perhaps maybe the first time in a long time where the buck is on me at the top in terms of managing a production. And I guess as well, when I look back, so we did some Kickstarter activity on some of the BHP stuff that I was involved in, but I must admit, I didn't put enough effort into it. Like, my work ethic has got better over the years, and when I look back in those Kickstarters, I didn't do the hustle. I didn't market it enough. I didn't promote it enough. So they got funded, but they scraped by, at a very lower amount. So I guess this is a big thing for me, because it's a change in genre, and also the first time that I'm like, right, I'm pelting full welly, getting booked onto podcasts, press releases, Facebook advertisements, and paying influencers to do certain things, and it's all just like a big gamble to see if it works, to see if it brings in readers, and I think it's going pretty well so far. And
yeah, I think so.
I think it is, yeah.
I just funded it, so yeah, I backed it earlier. I did back it earlier.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, John.
Yeah, I saw the cover and I was sold. I saw the cover, I thought, that's fantastic.
Amazing.
I'm going to investigate further. And then I saw the Frank Quitely sketch card level, and I went, mine, having it.
Boom. Nice one.
So
I love it. Thank you, man.
No problem.
I know it's such a good wee tier. That's the most popular tier we've put together, probably for obvious reasons, that we've got Frank Quitely doing a bit of artwork for it. But that's been, once you do one of these things, you're going to take the learnings to the next one, and having that early bird deal at that price point seems to be really attractive to people. They want to, like, I think it was about 20 quid for the print copies and digital comics, a bookmark, and the Frank Quitely print, and it's doing really well. So probably next time when I do issue 2, I'll be like, right, I'll replicate that, or add a bit more value to it, so maybe then even more people will take it up. I guess I'm like quite lucky. Like, my day job background is in kind of marketing and communications, so I'm bringing like a lot of that skill set to this process.
Yeah.
But thanks for backing, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no. It looks great. I saw that work inside and I thought, fantastic looking, really good.
I think I had coffee in that place yesterday.
Oh, really?
Sorry.
Is that you? Do you wear a hat?
Yeah,
or something?
Yeah. That's me with the glasses. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I love it.
So how did you talk Frank Quitely into doing your artwork for you?
So I guess as well, that's like a new thing we're really trying this time, is just trying anything and just chancing my luck. So I know Frank, aka Vin, just through the comic work with BHP, meeting him at conventions, and he's always been like just a lovely guy. And I had his email address, and I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to email him, and I'm going to say, look, if it's a no, it's fine. Like, I can take rejection. I think probably one point in my life I would have been scared of rejection, but now I'm like, do you know what? If somebody says no or ignores me, then it's fine. The world isn't going to end.
Yeah.
It's not going to collapse, and I won't feel embarrassed about it. So I thought, just like, look, I love his work. It's fantastic work. And I'm like, if there's just anything that he could do to get involved, that'd be amazing. And he just said, yeah, he was up for it. Like, he was a bit too busy to do like a full cover or like a full detailed print. So we sort of settled on a halfway, which is like an A5 sort of sketch card. So it's not like it's not like a massive piece of work he's doing. And it was the same with I asked John Wagner to promote it as well, because I've met John a few times just through the comic scene, and he's a great guy. I interviewed him on stage, and I just said, John, like, is there just any chance you would just randomly promote this book that you've not really read? You've only just seen a bit of it. It could be absolute tosh, but do you fancy giving it a bash? And he was like, yeah, the art looks pretty good, and you're a sound enough guy. So he went for it. And just John posting about it brought in 5 backers alone, just because like people trust him. He's an industry giant. And again, I'm going to bring it back to wrestling, right? They talk about in wrestling, they talk about, and this is going to sound wrong at first, but they talk about getting a rub, right? Yeah. Which is when they're trying to get a smaller mid-card newer talent over, they'll team them up with the bigger pros so they can get like that sort of like bit of a shine. And I guess it's just human nature in terms of how we perceive things that are valuable or people to follow or things to buy, is that if it starts to get attached to different things and that starts to have value, I guess it's just that's why wrestlers do it, you know.
Or it's like comics getting a big name artist to do your variant cover or something.
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
And so I know those guys, and I'm like, look, you know, if you say no, it's fine. Like I won't be offended, but I'm just going to be an absolute cheeky and do it. I don't. Can we swear on this show?
Yes.
Yeah. Fuck yes.
All right, I'm going to be a cheeky bastard.
Yeah. Don't say shit or fuck.
We do it as well. Like there's we mentioned John Lees earlier, but we had John on. Big fan of his work, and obviously it's just we know him from the convention, so we just blared away, got him on the show, and then after he left, he said something like, "Thank you for having me on Thank you for having me on Scotland's premier beer and comics podcast." So I was like, nice. John, can you please, as he was still in the room, I was like, John, can you please put that down and quote it? And he was just like, yeah. So it's on the back of our anthology with like John Lee's brackets, Sink Hotel, Crimson Cage. Like,
nice one.
So, but yeah, you know, the name carries value, you know, absolutely.
Yeah, it's true, man. And John's a great guy. Like, I'm not going to put John over too much, right? But I even remember, like, in the writers group right at the start, his first self-published comic was The Standard, and it was just like so good, like so a cut above me and the other people in the group, and I was just like, man, this, you know, it's inspirational in that way. Like, I want to be as good or beat this guy because it's like it was so impressive. So yeah, John's a powerhouse, man. He's a good guy and a powerhouse, and I'm not going to say any more nice things about him. That's it. Cut off. Back to rivalry.
Yeah. So have you got in your have you done cons this year? Have you got anything coming up this year? Obviously, like it'll be quite, once this is going, it'll be quite a big deal, won't it? So
yeah, man. So I did the Acme show there, and I'll do Glasgow Comic Con, then I'll do the other Acme one, but I've got nothing else booked in. I mean, I was considering it, but I think that until you don't actually have a physical thing to sell, doing conventions are a bit weird. Like the Acme one, I was trying a new approach. I just had flyers and I had the artwork blown up in A3 or A2, and I was just pretty much going, like, waving it, not quite waving at people's faces, but the whole point was like, well, this is what I'm doing. You can subscribe, and once the Kickstarter launches, we'll promote you, that kind of thing. But I got a lot less foot traffic compared to if I had an actual comic. So maybe once I've built up a bit more of a portfolio, I'll start going to shows. But and all this sort of, I mean, I've had orders from people throughout the world, which is good, which is lovely. But a lot of the advertising and the focus, I'm trying to get like the local comics community involved. So if there's not really, so I'm not really thinking about, I'm going to do Thought Bubble. I'm trying to like generate a lot of sales or interest here. Try to give, you know, that regional angle, like the fact that it's Scottish based, and because I think Kickstarters can sound quite scary, where it's like, oh, you need to raise $4,000 to fund your comic. But a lot of the time, when you look at successful Kickstarters, it's like 200, 250 people that reach that amount. So I'm like, surely I can convince 200 to 250 people in Scotland to read a Scottish comic. That's the theory anyway. So I've been really trying to focus on, you know, going onto the Forbidden Planet, giving them flyers, putting up posters and all this kind of thing. So that's a long way of saying I've only got a few cons this year.
Yeah, that's fair enough, man.
Yeah.
Acme's a biggie though. Like the foot traffic in Acme is ginormous. Like I didn't go this year, but I went to the two last year, and like one of the ones the year before. And it's such a vast con. Like obviously, I think it is Scotland's biggest con of its size. So yeah, I think for many comic creators, it's a place to be. I would say it's set up by the BHP guys. So
yeah. I mean, it was good. It was great, and I think it is the biggest now because MCM essentially pulled out of Scotland. And I don't remember why. It might have been COVID, but that's kind of how it all came about. That MCM went, and then the Sha and then Dave, sort of Glasgow Comic Con, and Dave from the Attic event. So he was mostly doing like manga, anime type stuff. So what's it called? Rycon. Yeah. So then they sort of came together. So it's quite good that it's like a big Scottish show, but it's actually run by the Scots as well, which is a nice touch. But yeah, so I'll be doing the other big one in September, and that's about it. I'll maybe try and go more next year, like really sort of flex my wings, stretch my wings. But it's been a while since I've done Thought Bubble, and that's usually quite a good show. Are you guys doing any this year?
What have we got this year? I don't know. I've not spoke to Crana. Like last year, I had it's usually Crana. The Brewgooder guide to getting booked at cons is to get Dave Crana to do it, and then us just go, we'll go halfers on your table if you want. And then he's like, yes. So I think he applied. I don't know. So I know Thought Bubble got released today, didn't it? Like, or the first set of exhibitors got announced today.
That's
so,
right. Yeah.
I've not spoke to Crana yet. I think so.
It seems like such a stressful thing. I've not really been in that gauntlet for a while. You know in fact, so I've been to Thought Bubble with BHP, but that again, I wasn't really directly involved in trying to not lobby, but apply and try to get my presence there. But I think the last time I applied as myself, like there was no, what's that called again? There was no. I've lost words. When you review the applicants, coordination, there's a fancier word for it, right? Do you know?
It's like, they're filtering through and like
triaging. No, that's more of a medical.
Oh yeah, triage. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Let's call it triaging, right? They're triaging who goes. That wasn't there because the last time I went was so long, and the amount of applicants met the amount of tables, and that was it. But that was back when it was down at the dock by Leeds, which is wild. Now it's Harrogate. It's fascinating.
It is mad. I love Harrogate. It's such a fascinating place. I don't know. Like I've been to Thought Bubble 3 times, twice as an exhibitor or a trader, and once as a punter, and actually spent less money as a punter, if that makes any sense. Like by the time you so I don't really know what the plan is this year, but there was a moment last year where we were in the first hall as you came in. So the big opening hall. And I just felt glued to the table all weekend because it was like, actually, this has cost a fortune to get here and get down here in our hotel and food and drinks and stuff like that. So it was like, it was just sell all day to try and turn some sort of profit. And one of the amazing things about Thought Bubble is everyone's there. So it's like all your favorite, and obviously, we've been doing this podcast now for so long that it's like, there's like over 100 folk in that hall that we've chatted to feasibly. And I just felt so glued to the table. I was like, actually, the socializing aspect of the podcast was the convention was totally lost this year. Whereas the year before, I think it was our first time as a podcast at Thought Bubble, and we had our space, and we all filled it. So there was me, Colin, and Dave, and then Andrew was helping out behind. So we were all able to leave the table that wee bit more. Whereas last year it was just me and David. But then the year before, me and Colin just went in as punters, and it was like the best weekend ever. And it was still it was the first one after lockdown, so we were all still wearing face masks and doors. And that was great. That was amazing. I don't know what the plan is this year. We're doing we've got our current convention at the end of the year though. That's been booked up. So we've got our own wee comic art fair that we did last year, and it was quite decent in Dunfermline. So we've got that booked again for this year. So,
cool, nice one, amazing.
I'll let you know if you've got books, you can join us. It's like a $5 a table. And it's tight. You get half a table for a $5, and it's just total chill.
Nice one.
So,
I love that, man.
I'm booked in as a guest at Scotland Card Show, which will be random. So we'll see how that'll go. That'll be interesting.
Whereabouts is that?
That's at the SEC.
Oh, no way.
There's all sporting and trading cards, Pokemon cards, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not involved in that per se, but I do, sketch cards for Tops and Upper Deck, etc. So I just asked, would you like me as long as a guest? They're like, yeah, okay. So
Amazing.
boom, done. Free table for me.
Oh, boom! You can't beat that.
It'll be interesting to see though. It'll be interesting to see if the gaming crew will check out sketch cards. That'll be interesting to see if that'll happen or not.
Yeah, exactly. I take it. So if you're there as a guest, will you be like try to like sell like original art, or
I'll be selling sketch cards. Yeah,
I mean?
I've got
Yeah.
I've got basically when you work for a sketch card company, usually you get a couple back for yourself to keep to sell
Nice.
for yourself.
Yeah.
So I'll see. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's only going to cost
cool.
a tenner for transport, so
that's pretty good.
Yeah, like what's the risk really? Yeah, it was like
exactly.
you know,
Yeah,
tight,
exactly. Bit of a schlep on the bus, but other than that, it's okay. That's pretty much it for me. I was thinking about Comic-Con Scotland, the Monopoly events.
Oh,
but I
yeah,
don't
is
know.
that the Edinburgh ones?
Edinburgh, yeah, it's October, yeah.
That whole massive, isn't it? So the one in is it the?
It's a big place, yeah. I've been a guest there a couple of times, and that's quite interesting. But they're not there for comics; they're there for celebs and memorabilia. So,
Is it? Yeah, it's more of a. Yeah, it's more of like an
it's more pop culture than anything
sort of.
else. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
that kind of thing. Kind of more like Collectormania then, in that respect. Collectormania is always a bit more focused on the celebrity side.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
The guests that the Scottish Comic Con guys get is insane, though, isn't it? Like they get like Ewan McGregor and I think they had like
they've got Jensen Ackles so far this year for Scotland. They just had Aberdeen. They had Karen Gillan was the big guest from Guardians of the Galaxy,
cool.
Doctor Who. Fantastic guest. So yeah, they do get some big guests. I was thinking about going down to Liverpool because they've got Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, and I'm a huge fan. But it's going to cost far too much to go down for a couple of days, So
they do.
I don't know.
They talk about Liverpool, and that one. It's the same guys that do that con do a wrestling one in Liverpool, and they had like the Undertaker and that there and stuff like that.
For the love of wrestling, yeah.
Yeah, they do for the love of wrestling, and they got like their guest lists are insane as well. So yeah, just mad. Don't know how they do it. Like they must just email Obdi. But
they had Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
they had Van Damme for goodness sake. So that was their biggest. Oh, this Stu.
That's Stu. I brought him in because Stu messages the big guest they've just announced is Mick Foley for it.
Yeah, well, he might be outdone now because I've just announced Sean Austin as well.
Sean Austin
tonight.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Good news. Yeah.
So
Mr. Fudu. Did any of you guys ever see Mick Foley when he was up in Glasgow ages ago? What was the venue called? It was like a comedy venue next to the cinema in Glasgow, Renfield Street. Renfield Street? Am I thinking about Dracula here? Yeah, it was right next to Walkabout. That's right. That's where like ICW sort of like not spread its wings, but that's where it started to like really bubble. Some of those early shows were amazing. And then they had Mick Foley there. I've still got a picture of him like that. Like I had to get the thumbs up with him,
his autobiography is incredible. I love Mick Foley. I might I don't know, like I get like some of the like the bigger conventions that are aimed at like autographs. I'm like, nah, no thanks. Like who's going to spend like that amount of money? And then like they announce like Mick Foley, and I'm like, yeah, actually, I probably will, or I probably might.
I have his biography on my shelf, and it has some lovely yellow pages inside it. It's like, a signature in there would be perfect.
Yeah.
I'll just have to get over the fact that I'll probably cry in front of him. But
it's like, I like that as well. Because I remember Simon Pegg did a signing when his book came out at Waterstones, and I got a copy of my Spaced DVD box set signed.
Oh, nice, man.
Like I didn't buy like a fresh one. It was like because it was one of those sort of cardboard slip case ones.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely tattered. Like Simon Pegg actually commented saying it looked very well thumbed, and then he kind of laughed because well thumbed sounded like a bit of an innuendo. Or an innuendo, or
innuendo,
and but like I just it's like that's the one I wanted I didn't want to buy a fresh one to keep it as like this preserved thing. Like this is the one I genuinely nearly broke my DVD player playing all the time. So I would like your signature on that one, man.
That's the thing. Like, how do these? Sorry, like we're now just segueing, but how do these guys deal? Like, can you just bring like your stuff to these?
Sometimes you can.
Yeah.
It really depends. Book signings, they're generally just there for the book. Occasionally you're able to like
the book that they're
occasionally able to slip something in. At a convention, they pretty much sign anything. But they might charge a bit more depending on what they're signing. I know Carl Weathers used to charge more for signing boxing gloves as opposed to an 8x10.
Right, okay.
Maybe because it's a harder surface to write on. I don't know.
Or maybe they're thinking the fact that people will try and flip these more.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's why I get things.
Futurama gag. Make this out to eBay.
Yeah, I get things personalised to me. So everything I've got signed is to John. So
I all the stuff I've got is personalised. I say all the stuff. I've got my Roddy Piper picture and my Ace Rimmer picture from Chris Barry signed my Ace Rimmer 8x10, so it was good. But,
nice.
So like to Jeff, blah blah blah. You know, best wishes.
Yeah.
I like that personalization.
Yeah, definitely get everything signed to yourself. You know, people ask you, "Do you want it personalized?" It's like, yes, please. Only one person refused to personalize, and that was Peter Mayhew, Chewbacca.
Oh, really?
He refused to personalize anything. I don't know why. He was just saying,
People are
that
trying to
was
get
it. Yeah.
Print.
No. Exactly. Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is he's had like an embarrassing misspelling in the past. You know what I mean? Where like he spelt John wrong, and he's like, "I'm just so embarrassed, I cannot repeat that again." It's the only theory.
My favorite ones are. I love that thought bubble when you've got what's it Colin calls them the suitcase guys that like I buy them like. What I love about Thought Bubble is you can like one of the things, many things I love about Thought Bubble is I can take all the comics I've bought in a year and then look at the guest list and be like, oh, actually I've got I can get that signed because he did my cover and blah blah blah. But then you're when you're in the queue, like I bought last year. I got the year before I got John Tynion to sign my Project Blue Book series that I had. It's really cool because it's like a blue and black cover and it's got his like silver pen over the top of it and it looks amazing.
Nice.
But I'm standing in the queue for that and there's guys in front, front and back of me that've got like 20 copies of The Batman Who Laughed in their hand, ready to go. So they can get him to sign it for writing it and then they can take it around to Jock and get him to sign it as well. But then John Tynion's got on his desk like first 4 autographs free, 5th autograph $10, 6th autograph $100, and he's just like he ranked. It's just obviously he's there for fans, and he knows that, but he knows that there's folk there that are going to take his signature and then flip it the next day and stuff like that. So.
Yeah,
it's funny you mentioned the Project Blue Book comic. I was in Edinburgh one day and I went to the old Deadhead Comics. If you've ever been to Deadhead Comics, it's a legendary shop. And the owner, Gaff, was, "Oh, are you here for the signing?" I was like, "What signing?" He said, "Oh, Mike Oeming's going to be here this afternoon. And he's signing comics."
Cool.
I was like, "Really? What?" So I went away and bought the Powers hardback. And then it turned out he was doing sketches for beer money. Because he and his uncle were doing a tour of Scotland. And they just hit up every single comic shop they could find in Scotland and said, "Would you like me to come and sign stuff? And I'll do sketches for beer money."
Smart.
So I got a nice black and white Daredevil for £1 sketch, Mike Oeming sketch, and he did a head sketch in my hardback Powers omnibus, which is awesome.
That's cool.
So he just went, right, he went to the directory, how many comic book shops is there? Phoned up, "Hey, let me to come," and that's it. And he just had a big pile of beer money. Him and his uncle went and got pissed in the pub.
That is a plan. That is a plan. Yeah. That man could teach seminars.
It was awesome.
The thing about being a writer, you can't really do anything on the fly. Like nobody wants to see words. You can't really, like artists have got like the cooler job.
It is a tricky one, yeah. But when I saw Alan Grant at a convention, he just basically didn't have anything. He was waiting for people to come with comics for him to sign. So rather than have a stack of comics, he didn't have anything. So that's an odd one, yeah. He's sitting with like nothing, and yet Norm Brayvogle's next to him with like a pile of prints and stuff. It's just ridiculous.
Exactly. Because I guess as well, if like you're so well known or your work has been on massive books, DC, Marvel, etc., eventually your comp copies run out, and then eventually they're just not sold anymore, I suppose. Like, so you can't even like restock yourself if you did want to try and do a bit of trading,
Yeah, you only get so many comps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's interesting. You can have like a massive body of work, but if you're at a show, you might not be able to actually represent it because that stock just dwindles, and then before you know it, it's gone.
Yeah.
So
normally what we do around this thing, Gary, is we give you the choice we can plug your stuff in our 5 minutes because that's what we will be doing it anyway. We want to, but we also we give you the option as our guest to either bail or hang around. So normally we kind of finish the last half an hour or so of the podcast by just blathering about all of the geeky shit we've done this week. So
nice.
If you want to contribute, like it's our sort of geekery section about like what programs we watched, what movies we watched, what we read, and stuff like that. So it's up to you.
So I would actually love to do it. I would, but I might bow out if that's not going to offend you guys. Purely because, again, very happily and luckily going on a nice holiday next week. Schools are off, we'll be off, but it means that I need to get stuff finished, not just for comics, but also the day job. I'll be doing day job stuff tonight. It became the night job for today. So if that's hit at about 9, I need to finish some video edits, and then I need to finish a Lego script and all that kind of stuff. But I have genuinely enjoyed like chatting geeky stuff with you guys so far. So
no, I love the one.
I was
just saying it's got nothing to do with the fact that Josh Barnett's Bloodsport starts in 10 minutes.
It's just a coincidence, right? It's just a coincidence. No, but generally, I have like really enjoyed chatting with you guys. So but I will be sensible and I will bow out and I will do that work, and then I can go into next week stress-free and deadline-free. Hopefully.
Amazing, man. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch you at the next con, and we'll see you in Glasgow at some point. And it's always a pleasure to. So everyone should be checking out Gary's Every Last One, issue 1 horror series.
Yes.
The Kickstarter link's on the screen. It's going to be amazing. We're excited. You should be excited too. Cheers, buddy.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good night. Cheers.
You. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Cheers, Gary. That was amazing. Amazing stuff. Like, did you back it on air? I do that quite a lot. When you're like, well, actually, that's quite good.
I try, and then I can never find my like debit card, and I can never remember the 3 numbers on the back. So I get close, like 95%, almost backed it. Then fuck, I'll do it later.
Yeah, I backed it before we went online. So yeah,
I saw that. It's got like so it's like got it looks really good. It's got 26 days left to go. I think he'll smash it well before then. His Kickstarter game is really strong. So
speaking of strong Kickstarters, Mr. Dave Crana's doing quite well with his Glass City.
Oh, hold on, let me see. Yeah, I wanted to.
He's doing all right.
Yeah. Where are we just now? David Crana. It was like it had like £300 left the last time I checked, but
a nice one.
Yeah, it's looking right. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it on here so I can share. Yep. So his target of £2,000 is £308 away from being funded. Well, you'll smash that as well.
26 days to go, definitely. Yeah, 100%.
We were talking to Streff last week about it, and like you always find with Kickstarters is your first couple of days, which obviously David and Gary have done in the last week. You get that big boost at the start, and then you get like a slow but relatively consistent period in the middle, and then you can do that thing on Kickstarter where if you don't back it because you can't find your debit card at that moment in time, you can click the remind me and then when there's 2 days left in the project, it'll give you another. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Chat on YouTube. That's Hunter Hugh. Sorry, just subscribe to the channel. Cheers. Yeah, it's Jonathan saying, all right, man. It was nice to see you again, Jonathan. It was nice that you hung out with us a wee bit on Tuesday as well. Yeah, how funny was it that Gary's also a wrestling fan as well? Like, it's just like it's not. There is no escaping it.
It's our generation. We were the ones that were the right age during the Attitude Era.
I think so. Well, the lifers, eh? So yeah, so that's Hunter saying that they really love crime horror stories. So yeah, get back in every last one and get back in Glass City.
Definitely,
both right up your avenue, both set in Glasgow, both suitably crimey and dark, and amazing stuff. What have you guys been up to this week? Who wants to start with their assorted geekery?
John, because I've got to go grab something for show and tell.
Okay.
That sounds dodgy. What have I been up to? I've been up to absolutely nothing geeky at all, apart from drawing Transformers sketch cards.
Pretty geeky.
Nothing geeky. What else did I do? Read some comics, watched some movies. I've been working my way through the comics I picked up the other weekend at the con in Glasgow. So I read Drops issue 1 by Matthew Cooper and Connor Montgomery. That was suitably grim and gruesome. And Mr. Russell's A Time of Magic.
That's also a good one. Well, Sam's stuff.
Surprisingly grim and disturbing. I thought, this is going to be a fun romp. And it got very gruesome and a bit gritty and disgusting. And then I read the final issue of The Hell, which came through. It was the kickstarted from Jason Miller, who we had on a couple of weeks ago. The Hell. So that's all 3 issues of his The Hell miniseries out. So I've been working my way through all those comics there. Yeah.
Nice.
Amazing stuff.
Watched a couple of movies. Watched The Nun 1 and 2.
Oh.
Part of the Conjuring universe.
How did you find that?
I've seen The Nun before and it was okay. And The Nun 2 is more of the same, So I quite like the Conjuring movies themselves. But the spin-offs, so-so. And then I watched
better than Nun on the Run.
Nuns on the Run with Robbie Coltrane.
Robbie Coltrane,
Nothing's better than Nuns on the Run with Robbie Coltrane. And then I watched See How They Run on Disney Plus. If you've seen that, it's there's my cat. Hey, hello. It's Sam Rockwell and Saoirse Ronan. Very fun film.
Did someone say Nuns on the Run?
The cat loves Nuns on the Run. That's her favorite film. Basically, it's based on kind of like Agatha Christie kind of crime novels, plays and stuff, and it's basically does for that kind of genre, which kind of Scream did for the horror genre. And Sam Rockwell does a fantastic British accent. So See How They Run. Well worth checking out.
Oh, wait, yeah. I know which one you mean there.
Yeah.
It's only from the last couple of years.
It's literally about a year and a half old or something, yeah.
That's cool, man.
Well worth checking out.
Awesome. Stu, what have you been up to this week?
He's got something to show us.
Something to show us.
I know, I want to get my money's worth out of this thing. So I went to the cinema at the weekend. Saw the new Godzilla and Kong, the New Empire, because my kids are big fans of kaiju. Well, Godzilla, like this recent MonsterVerse series of movies. So it's only right as my job as the father to make sure he sees the film. Well, on the Saturday, not day one, we're busy, but the Saturday. And I took him to like the second biggest screen I could find. My local cinema in Glenrothes were showing it on like their smallest screen. And to myself, I was like, no. And then I saw the price of IMAX and I was like, no. So we settled for in the middle, like the Goldilocks of cinema screens at the Odeon. So, but it did come with added extras. Now, the poster in the background was from a friend. I think this was like Cineworld were handing these out.
Oh wow, yeah, that's cool.
Nice.
So, but the Odeon were selling these funky popcorn buckets.
Oh wow!
The size of this thing. So you've got Godzilla.
Oh yeah.
You've got King Kong.
Oh god, big screen you. So it's just for scale. Let's see again. Oh, nice.
Now you have 2 popcorn buckets.
And I bet that cost about a tenner each.
Yeah.
Pretty much, it was 20 quid.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you get
29 if you wanted it full?
That's ridiculous, man. That's horrendous.
Oh
my goodness.
I was at the and it was like the self-checkout thing in the audience. I'm sitting tapping, I was like, give me the one with the popcorn. I'll pay it. Just fill the bucket. And they wouldn't accept it. I'd had to buy the bucket empty, and then buy popcorn separately. And when they handed it over, it was like 2 just cardboard like popcorn buckets, and then that in the middle. So I just picked them up, poured them in, and handed them the cardboard back. It's like, it could have been this easy, guys. Come on. But at least we now have a popcorn bucket for the house. And it slides off into 2, so the kids could have 1 each.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
Jink, as more movies come out, you'll get more modular sections, so you can get like a moth robot and then like a Ghidorah.
God, I hope my child doesn't find out. But it seems to be the thing. Like every big movie comes with a gimmick. Like the options, like there were more options for that. When I looked on the Odeon app and I heard about this bucket, and I thought, we could actually do a popcorn bucket, and Godzilla and Kong's perfect.
My Indiana Jones cup. Look at that.
Did that hat come with it?
Yeah, it's the hat. That's how you drink it. You go.
I guess that's not as bad as the Dune 2.
Or the Dune 2 fleshlight bucket.
But I didn't think that was real. Was that bucket genuine?
Yeah,
that's a genuine thing.
It might have just been in the States. But yeah, no, you definitely shove your hand in like the sandworm thing.
Yeah, man, yeah.
But yeah, they had the popcorn bucket, but then they also had cups, like plastic cups, and it had like a pink LED light in the bottom, so it would light up like Godzilla. And I was like, that would be really annoying. Like you're trying to watch a film and these lights keep going off around you as people are slurping like Coke Zero. But those were sold out, so that was fine because that would have cost me like 40 quid all in.
I liked when we see the Iron Claw, and the gimmick for the Iron Claw was like just like a box of tissues.
Yes.
And a counselling session for all men over the age of 30 on your way.
I see Ghostbusters in the States. They had ghost traps.
Oh, the trapper thing.
Popcorn buckets,
popcorn buckets. Yeah, that was genius.
I went to the cinema yesterday, and not to see Ghostbusters. So I went to the cinema yesterday, and I got Lemon and Slimer Ice Blast.
Oh yeah.
It was there, and there was a marshmallow. So it was like the normal Ice Blast machine, but on one side it was like lemon and lime, and the other side it was marshmallow, rather than their standard like normal colors. So
did anyone see Ghostbusters yet?
I've seen it.
I saw it. Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah,
I watched it in 4DX because that was the only screening that was available to me. Have you ever seen a 4DX film?
Is that the shaky one?
The
seats shake, they fire water at you, there's smoke, there's strobe lights, there's steam, there's smells, there's everything.
So fantastic. What happened when Slimer ran past you? Did they just squirt you with like green goo?
No, that was me when I sneezed. No, it's the seats just shake. That's what the seats shake. But when the Ecto-1 is like, racing through the streets, the seats are shaking and they're bouncing about.
Like rubber.
When the lights are, when they're firing the proton beams, the lights are all flashing and there's smoke coming up. Yeah, it's very interesting. I didn't think it was going to be as prolonged as it was. I didn't think it was going to be like the whole film. Obviously, like it's constant, non-stop. But yeah, just don't take any snacks with you. Eat the snacks before the film starts. Otherwise, whoa.
This cost me 20 quid. I can't drop it.
Exactly, but it was good fun in 4DX. You know, it added to the effect of the movie. You know, the movie wasn't the best Ghostbusters film ever, but I enjoyed it.
I always just assumed the 4D experience would be like, as you said, the moving chair, the scent, like the smell thing, and then they're just some underzealous usher son are just like chucking snow or water at you. So,
no,
we're Aquaman here.
The seat has a little button where you can turn the water on and off, so you can either have the water on to get sprayed, or you can turn it off if you don't want it sprayed. It's crazy.
Do you have like headphones? Did I read that as well? Is there like, you can play around with the sound? Is that 4DX, or is it just the standard speaker?
Maybe it's a headphone jack in case.
It was all over. I mean, the speakers were always all over. It was it was the top of the line
surround sound. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there wasn't anything sort of major different with the sound as far as I could tell. But definitely, it was weird. Like things like hitting you in the back of the seats and stuff. There's like little punch buttons
chairs
in the
come with
back.
seatbelts?
They don't, and I was holding them for dear life.
I always assumed, like, when I saw adverts for like Fast and Furious and 4DX, and you're like, oh fuck, you just put all the straps on.
It's like in Jurassic Park, and like as the cars getting thrown over the cliff, the whole cinema screen everyone's hanging.
the dinosaur's hot breath just in your face, like.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something I would go to like every film to watch it in 4DX, but it's certainly for a one-off experience. Yeah, I imagined Godzilla Collingwood. Is that a Taylor Swift cup? Yes.
Now we know.
It's not mine. It's not mine. I will
that
say
makes it worse.
The wife and kid went to see Taylor Swift in IMAX at the Odeon, £25 a ticket, and they got a nice cup and a poster. I will, however, admit I am a Taylor Swift fan, but that's not my cup. So there you go.
I think everyone's a Taylor Swift fan.
Yeah.
I thought the Ghostbuster movie was alright. It wasn't the best Ghostbuster movie. It was slightly less. I don't know. Like I get kind of annoyed in sorry, spoilers for anyone that's not seen Ghostbusters, but I get annoyed that like it seems to be happening more and more where like the heroes set up their own villain, and I find that starting to find that quite annoying. I know they did it in like Spider-Man: No Way Home, and I'm trying to think of other examples that escape me, but this whole thing where like the hero solves a problem that they created. And I felt like they did that in the Ghostbusters movie, where I was like, well, actually, if the Ghostbusters do nothing, like actually New York would probably be in a better situation than if they actively got involved and did stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It's one of those
Gianni
things.
didn't try to sell his grand's weird sex dungeon ornaments, we'd all be fine.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that was it. You know, that was fine. It was Ghostbusters. You know, happy enough.
Yeah, it was good. Bill Murray's bit was my favorite bit, where he hides alcohol in the fire station, and I think it's just like
still there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what did you think of like the Phoebe storyline? Where is it right? You're too young to bus ghosts. Fucking stay at home, and then she becomes friend with like Casper, plays chess.
I thought it was good. I thought.
It was different.
It was right. Yeah.
It kind of went the standard trope of why are you being friendly with her? Oh wait, there's an ulterior motive. Fair enough. But
yeah, I enjoyed that. I quite like Trevor's thing with the trying to get Slimer out of the attic. I thought that was quite funny.
Yes, aye.
I think if there's any complaint to be made about the film, they sort of went into a weird section where there was like 6 or 7 stories going on at the same time, and everybody had something to do, and that felt a bit like we don't need to know about. And then they introduced all the new characters, and did we need podcast back? You didn't really do anything, you know, all that kind of stuff. But no, it was fine.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, podcast and Lucky didn't really do anything. Yeah.
Like Dan Aykroyd got a lot more screen time.
Producer.
Yeah.
Oh well, okay.
I liked all the nods to the cartoon as well, and like they sort of highlighted the idea that the Ghostbusters had like, and obviously they mentioned it in Afterlife, but there's this whole thing where like he brought out is it the Ecto S or whatever it's called, the motorbike. So that was cool, and I was like, that was from the cartoon. So
well, believe it or not, the plot line for this movie is from the cartoon.
Oh,
there was an episode apparently like this. And they borrowed it from as far as I can tell, they borrowed it from the cartoon. Somebody was asking one of the original writers for the cartoon, is like, do you mind that they've stolen your idea? He's like, meh.
That's good. I enjoyed it. I went to see another film yesterday in the cinema. I've created. I thought I would try and do things a bit differently this podcast.
Is there a PowerPoint?
No, not a PowerPoint. No, like that's not you. I did PowerPoints on Tuesday.
I know, but I thought you were going to bring out another one.
No. I'm gonna. I drew my review. So here we go.
Like hieroglyphics.
No. Here we go. So I drew a question mark in the shape of
you watched.
Okay. Could you pronounce that word in the background?
Nice. No, so that's not a word. That's a noise to symbolize Hans Zimmer's amazing score. No, it's this noise that it's like I don't know because I've not watched any making of yet, but it's like a noise that Hans Zimmer has in throughout the Dune 2 score. It's like something like that. I've drawn the sandworm in the shape of a question mark to symbolize the fact that when I was having coffee afterwards, I had to ask about 100 questions to get my head around what was going on. I've done
Is that a glass of water in the corner?
No, it's a glass of worm piss, which, believe it or not, is a key plot point in Dune 2.
Okay.
I thought you'd do Zendaya.
I didn't draw Zendaya because she's too pretty. And I did. There's wee Timothée Chalamet though.
A big tub of spice.
Looking at a big tub of spice, which has different connotations in Scotland, but that's fine. So he's a wee spice boy, and then you've got and I drew this halo to symbolise the religious themes that feature throughout Dune 2, and then obviously that's lots.
Did the big worm go to heaven?
The big worm did not go to heaven.
It's either that or it's the Sonic the Hedgehog ring that's about to collect.
Well, yeah. No, I went to see Dune 2 yesterday, and I enjoyed it, tremendously enjoyed it. Like,
nice.
I think it'll go down as one of the best films ever made. No, I stand by that. Definitely, like, I think it will be regarded as one of the best films ever made as time goes on. I think if you look at it like cinematically, it looks amazing. Like everything in it looks great. Like I was thinking, like you look at like particularly in the more recent efforts, the MCU stuff, you're starting to see the CGI, or like it looks great until like a key scene, and you're like, oh, actually, this isn't as good as this like Black Panther stands out in my head straight off the bat, where the film looks incredible until the last fight scene, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this looks like a cutscene from a PS3 game. Like it was, and then you had but no, like there was nothing in Dune that that I at any point thought wasn't there. There was no random uncanny valley effects or anything like that. They did some amazing stuff. Like there's a really awesome scene filmed on the villains that I don't want to pronounce. They've all got really like incredible like names and character names and like words and stuff. But like the villain guys who are like Dave Bautista's one, and the guy from the Elvis movie is one of them as well.
Oh,
but
yeah.
There's a whole scene set on their planet that has like a black sun, and because it's got a black sun, it's like that. Like they did this really cool effect where like whenever they were in darkness, you could see color, but whenever they stepped out into the light, because of the black sun, everything just became this sort of like black and white movie almost. And but it looked really good. And I did a wee bit of research last night on how they filmed that and whether they just took the color out of the film. Like I think if most filmmakers would have just made it black and white. They would have played around with the filter or something.
Yeah.
But apparently, what they did for Dune 2 was they filmed it with what's it? What's the Predator vision called? Ultraviolet? Is it infrared?
Yeah, infrared. Yeah, infrared. Yeah,
I think they use like infrared or ultraviolet cameras. I can't remember what the actual name is, but they use some sort of color that. So actually, what you're seeing is color, but it's filmed in a color scale that we can't perceive with human eyes because like we can't see that many colors. So it's just like so it's on a color scale that we can't see, but so to us it just looks white, like pure white, and it's pretty incredible. Just an amazing film. Hans Zimmer does a great job on the score. I found the story quite confusing, very well written, but very confusing. Playing around with it, but the RE teacher of me is playing around with the idea that was quite enjoying the idea that there's this like coven. I don't know if anyone, any of you guys have seen it, but there's this idea. There's this coven of witches that create that they take the spice stuff and they can see the future, and they've created this like Messiah mythology, and have fed it to the galaxy, and then they're then doing like a selective breeding program to then ultimately create somebody that will become this Messiah, and then they can have it, they can have that guy in their pocket because they've created them through the selective breeding program, and then it's like there's a lot of shenanigans and plans among plans, but basically Timothy Chalamet's character is this Messiah guy, but he doesn't believe it, and it necessarily doesn't want to be this Messiah because he can foresee the death that it would cause if he became this sort of Jesus-like character. So it's him playing around with that. It's the idea that is he the Messiah, or is the mythology just so strong that people is mythology so strong that people are wanting him to, they're looking for him to do things. So when he does something, they're like, "Oh, you're the Messiah," and all that sort of stuff. Which is good, really good film. Really enjoyed it. It's long, but stacked. So I went to the toilet. Actually had the joke, Stu, where like whenever you and me went to the toilet at Iron Claw, or your wife went to the toilet at Iron Claw, another Von Erich died while we were away.
Moment of the movie happened.
It did feel a bit like that, whereas I went to the toilet and missed quite a key scene. But I was at the toilet for 2 minutes, and it's a 2.5 hour, almost 3 hour film. How did I miss a key scene? It's just a film full of key scenes. So if everyone should go to Dune, see it on the biggest screen you can. I saw it on a relatively moderate 2D screen, and it was amazing. It was one of those moments where I was like, "Oh, this would look fucking awesome in IMAX." And I think that 4DX, I probably would have been sick.
Chucking sand at you for 2 hours.
Sand and shit, yeah. But no, if you've not seen it, you should check out Dune 2. I genuinely think it'll go down as one of the best movies ever made. If not, it'll be one of the best sci-fi movies ever made. I think I'm listening to podcasts that are already putting it in. Two guys that I listened to called Rage of the Lost podcast. They did the top 30 sci-fi movie podcast last week, where it was like they just rated what they thought the best 30 sci-fi movies of all time were, and they had Dune 2 at number 12. It's only been out for 2 months, so it's good. I think I'm checking what else I did this week. I went to 2 gigs and drank loads of alcohol because it was my birthday last weekend, so it was great. Drank loads of beer. It was good.
I went to a gig. It's not something I do quite a lot of, but I went to King Tut's Wawa Hut through in Glasgow.
Oh, I love King Tut's, man. Yeah,
man. Yeah, I went to see.
Taylor Swift Cup.
I've got the
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. No, it was this band here. It's Naked Attraction. The Naked Attractor. It was Don't Panic. They're a US band. With Who Saves the Hero. But the reason I went was one of the bands is the Thomas Nicholas band, and Thomas Nicholas plays Kev in American Pie, and I love the American Pie films. It turns out he's actually a really good singer as well. So I went along, did a little
as well as being a mediocre actor. The weakest part of he was the weakest part of American Pie.
How dare you? But yeah, I'm a big American Pie fan, so I got a nice vinyl signed by him. Thomas Nicholas band featuring Bowling for Soup. So I got a nice signed to John. Yes. So it was a good gig, yeah, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's not something I do quite a lot of, go to gigs, but yeah, enjoyed that.
I'm trying to see. That's cool. King Tut's is an amazing venue as well. Like really central.
I've never
First
been
time I've been, it was really good.
Loved the sound of it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I went to see Pendulum. And what day were you through in Glasgow? Was it the Sunday or Saturday or Sunday?
It was last Friday.
Okay. I was at the Hydro on Sunday to see Pendulum, and that was a bit mental, I'd say. I'm trying to find it, but I can't find it. You mentioned one of the support bands was Who Saves the Hero?
Yeah.
Yeah, many moons ago when I was in a band, I supported Who Saves the Hero. They toured and played in Dunfermline, and I got to support them. It was good.
They're really good live. Yeah, I was fantastic band. Yeah,
like Welsh.
Yeah, Welsh guy. Yeah.
I remember them being like total solid guys.
Yeah.
That's Anna said it's a sci-fi masterpiece. I assume she's talking about June 2 and not about
American Pie. She's talking about.
Not about American Pie.
American
features a different type of sandworm.
Cheers.
Oh, let's get a flashlight. A flashlight. Imagine the popcorn box for that. Just an apple pie. You put your hand on the apple pie to get the.
Somebody stuck a thumb in this. That's disgusting.
It's like, what is this?
That is amazing.
There you go. I've just created the marketing for American Pie 5. There you go. Apple pie popcorn box.
Surely they've made more than 5. I feel it was a ridiculous amount of straight to DVD nonsense.
They've made 4 official ones, and then there's the American Pie Presents, which all feature some relative of Stifler in them.
Yeah, like his cousin or something, isn't it? Yeah, his little brother. All that.
And Jim's dad's in like 3 of them.
They all had Eugene Levy in them because
why not?
He wasn't in Schitt's Creek yet, so you were just saying yes to every appearance offered. I remember.
Have you seen Eugene Levy's travel show yet? On Apple. Yeah, he has a travel show. It's much like Carl Pilkington, where he goes to places he doesn't want to go. Well, Eugene Levy doesn't want to. He doesn't want to go places, and I think the first episode is in Alaska. He's completely out of his element. It's not as funny as Carl Pilkington. It's very dry, but it's that kind of Eugene Levy type of humor. Good fun.
Okay.
I absolutely adored the first American Pie movie when I think I was 14, 15 when it came out. So it was like key demographic, bit of a nerd. And I really, really enjoyed it. We watched it about 2 years ago maybe. And there's some bits that haven't aged very well. There's some bits that are like on the whole, it's like I was actually blown away by how surprisingly wholesome the film is, despite its content, But there is a few bits that are of its time and are just not okay, like the having watching the girl from the webcam and all that sort of stuff isn't okay.
There's a few
but then like there's good bits like was it Oz, Chris Klein's character just like learning not to be an asshole and that sort of stuff, and it's so it's a funny film, very very of its time, wasn't it? Like very 90s, like gross out humor, but still got like a message.
There's a lot of them like that. Yeah, there was a lot of those kind of teen movies around that time.
Remember that my gran told me she rented it. Not knowing what it was, like my gran seemed to famously watch movies with minimal context. And she said, they said it was popular, so I rented it. Like turned it off after half an hour.
We had the mention of the soundtrack. We had it at the cinema because I was working at the cinema at the time, the ABC in Geekery back in the day. And it was a freebie copy of the soundtrack. So we put it on. Of course, it's advertising the fact that you're listening to the American Pie soundtrack. And every couple of songs, this creepy guy would come on. And it'd be, you're now listening to the American Pie soundtrack. You'll never forget your first piece. And it was like, oh, that's awful. I actually have that CD in the house. And
it's such a banging soundtrack. Well, James Lade was on it, wasn't it? And Rodney Dangerfield and Blink-182, and it was good.
Oh yeah,
really good.
Yeah.
Really
all
good
the soundtracks for all the films are great. Yeah.
I remember when American Reunion came out. That was when I was sort of volunteering cinemas and helping out. And on the first night, I had a friend message me saying, "I think something's wrong with your copy of American Pie." And it's like, okay, what do you mean? It just doesn't make sense. And we later realised that because we were still working with 35mm film, and the projectionist just put it together in the wrong order, so it just played like Pulp Fiction.
Yes,
just all the wrong way around, and we're like, it got to a pivotal scene. Then opening credits started. It was weird.
I remember working in a cinema.
Yeah.
I worked in Cineworld Falkirk for a wee while when I was 20, and it was the summer that the Indiana Jones, the last sequel that wasn't very good, Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skulls Kingdom of It was that summer, so it was Crystal Skulls, Wall-E, Dark Knight, First Kung Fu Panda, Mamma Mia. Those were the big movies that summer. And I remember when I think it was Indiana Jones came in. It came in on digital. It was the first digital camera. So the cinema was still using film from all their screens apart from one, and it was the new digital.
Like a hard drive.
Yeah.
And I was usually selling popcorn or doing cleaning up the screen, so I never got to do any of the cool stuff like mess about in the projection room or that. I went and spoke to the projectionist, and I said to him, I was like, "Oh, is the digital thing a total worry? It's the death of traditional film and stuff." And he was like, "Nah, it's great." He's like, "Because I just press a button and it's done." Whereas with the films, he's having to make sure it's all lined up and.
You see that sounds. Oh, I'm hearing an echo.
Slight echo.
Yeah, that's from the projection side of it. But in the manager side, they've got to sit and program it into the computer to make sure they've got the right digital file, because there's 10 digital files on it, and the digital files got to unlock and stuff. So, because obviously they did away with projectionists. Projectionists and the managers got trained up as projectionists. So we had to go up in the morning, boot up all the projectors, and if there was any problems with the projector, we had to run up and fix it ourselves. And that was a nightmare, leading to one of my worst shifts ever when we had a power cut, and all 10 digital projectors went off at once. And I'm trying to fix the projectors upstairs, and there's customers screaming for my blood downstairs. "Where's the manager?" I was like, "He's fixing the projectors." My worst night ever. An hour and a half it took me to boot all the projectors back up. Nuts.
So yeah, it must have been quite stressful, man.
Stressful.
So what? So did you just kind of get them back up and running, and then the folk went back to their screens, or did you have to
Well, did you have to fast forward back to where they were?
Couldn't do it all, because when I was up in the projection box, I could see the film was back on and playing, but didn't realise there was no sound playing because it had knocked off the amps. I was like, God damn it. So people were watching the end of the film. So I had somebody downstairs with the free ticket book, just handing out free tickets to everyone. I'm like, "I'm really sorry. There was a power cut." And the whole Dunfermline went out. It wasn't just us. It was the whole Dunfermline went out. So, it was awful. Worst night of my life. It was terrible.
I love working in cinema, and I loved how bloody stress free it was. Actually, I was working as a shift manager at McDonald's, and I fucking hated it. Really, really hated it. And I managed to get myself a job just as cinema crew for the Cineworld. It was the entry level job, but I was just actually, I just need something. About to go into teaching. I just need something chill for a couple of months. So I went into it, worked in the cinema, and I loved it. And it was like that. Have you ever seen that Simpsons episode where Homer is working for Scorpio, and he just seems to be, he just seems to be amazing at it, and his bosses are always giving him compliments, and it felt a bit like that, where it's just I love I would do something, and my boss would be like, "Jeff, that was a really clever and an industrious use of your time." And I was like, "Thanks." And it was just I can be quite good when I don't have unhappy 45-year-old men shouting at me because I didn't make a Big Mac properly, So
well, I did that for 20 years. That was my previous incarnation, working in cinemas. But yeah, I was a cinema usher for 6 years. and I loved it. Obviously, I know our sole customer, but yeah, it was.
I think the worst thing I ever did was send somebody through to a screen too early, and it was the Incredible Hulk. Actually, I sent them through, not realizing that film wasn't finished yet. So they, I think it was a woman and her son, and she walked in and was like, and then came back out 50 minutes later. The film's just ended. And I was like, oh no, but I just did the free ticket thing. I was like, really sorry. You can go to the next screening, which is in 10 minutes, or go and see any other film because you. And I was like, and then come back and I'll give you more free tickets because I ruined the end of a movie for you. So
I've got so many horror stories. It's unbelievable. Just so many. Remember one woman who came out of watching I Love You, Philip Morris, which I don't know if you've ever seen it, but that involves a gay sex scene with Ewan McGregor and Jim Carrey. And this woman came out, she'd been in with her family, her husband and her son. And she came out, this film contains scenes of a buggery. And I was like, oh God. just trying to keep this straight face. I was like, game face on people. But of course, the members of staff who are behind them laughing their heads off, trying to make me laugh. And I'm like, oh man, go on, straight face. Here we go, game face. So many. Another woman came in complaining about the film Eight-Legged Freaks. You ever seen Eight-Legged Freaks? About mutant spiders.
Yeah.
So basically, the cinema came in and we decked it all out with the vinyl clings. You know, we had vinyl clings of spiders everywhere just to promote this movie. It was cool. It was fun. And this woman came and complained that she was scared of spiders and that she couldn't walk anywhere with all these spiders everywhere. And then bought a ticket for Eight-Legged Freaks. Yeah. Asshole. So, you know, so many stories like that, which this comic I'm eventually going to write. It's going to happen sometime before I die. Who knows? Could be tomorrow. It's going to be set in my old cinema in Geekery.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to feature any of the customer horror stories. It might. I don't know. It will all fit in. But yeah, that was my favorite place in the world. I loved it.
I saw Jurassic Park in that cinema in Kirkcaldy. Like I never went that long. I remember being about 5 and going to see Jurassic Park, and I'm not being maybe just being a bit too young to really enjoy it. And I remember saying to my mum something like, "We should have seen Mario Brothers. That would have been a better film."
I had an instance like that where it was like my birthday. We were in like the Meerkat shopping centre, and my mum and my sister said, "Right, we're not actually here to see shopping. We're taking you to the pictures." And it's like, we're going to see Men in Black. And they says, we've got tickets for the Mr. Bean movie. Sure, it's fine. But like, I was all about, like, I had the cassette tape for Men in Black. I'm not sure if there's a sticker book, but I was all in on seeing that movie. And they just went for the opposite film.
I really like the animated series of the Men in Black. Like, I think that's often overlooked. But they brought the film out, and then they had like an accompanying animated series. I loved the first Men in Black. I watched it with Sunny a couple of weeks ago, and then I was like, I remember that animated series being total baller. Like, I think it was the same animation house that did things like Aeon Flux and stuff. You know, the MTV. Yeah, I don't know if that's accurate. I'll need to check it. But the animation style, I remember, was like really quite was just good, like high quality, quite mature. Decent stories.
Yeah, the art director was, I believe it was Darwin Cook. He went on to do great things for DC and Marvel, but he also did the opening credits for Batman Beyond, which were awesome.
Yeah. I just remember really enjoying that TV series, and I didn't enjoy Mr. Bean. I went to the cinema to see Mr. Bean and didn't enjoy it.
I worked there when those both films came out. Yeah, so we probably crossed paths if we ever came to Geekery. If I was a lot skinnier, you guys were a lot smaller, so yeah.
I remember getting refused entry to see Life, the Eddie Murphy.
Oh yeah, Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, that film.
I enjoyed that.
Like, it was one of these cases. Like, I am 15, but I'm like exactly 15, and I don't have proof. So I was like, 2 for Life, please. Nah, you're not old enough. I was like, well, fine. A ticket for The Spy Who Shagged Me then.
It's like I was
That sounds so much worse.
I remember going to see the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or Hero Turtles as it was back then, and I was 14, and they didn't believe I was 14, so I had to pay an adult price. So that's the opposite of that story, which is weird. It's a hard one to gauge, though. Ages of people.
I remember I worked in a pub and in a small village outside Stirling when I was at uni, and somebody came in and I asked them for ID, and it was like every local went fucking bananas at me. We're just like, "He's 18, Jeff. He is," and like, blah blah, like this is just a small local pub, and I'm like, it's not your license. It's not like, and I got ID'd quite a lot when I worked in bars. Not ID'd quite a lot, but like you get like folk coming in as like secret customers to try and catch pubs out for not.
Right.
Yeah. So it happened quite a lot, and I think it happened in that pub like the week before, and I'd done it, and so again was like I was quite chuffed because I'd ID'd somebody, and it turned out that they were like a secret shopper. So I was like, nah, like it's serious. Like the pub could shut, and I get like a personal fine of like £2. I think they just introduced this rule where like the person that did the serving got a personal fine as well. Like I would get like fined quite a considerable amount of money. I was like, it's not worth the pub's license or my pocket. So no ID in the guy. So the kid went off, and the guy went off in a big fucking huff and walked back to his house, which was in the village, and came back with his ID, and he'd been like 18 for like 4 days. And it was like, come on now, man. Like
Jeff, you had a birthday party here. It was yesterday.
Yeah. So, but yeah, anyone do anything else nerdy? I went to Edinburgh and on Saturday and went on a big pub crawl. I got to play pinball. I drank some craft beer. I went to there's a place on Market Street called Cocktail Geeks. I don't know if you've heard of this place, but they change their theme every 4 months.
Is that the pubs where it's kind of like caverns?
Yeah, it's just as you're
I think I've been to like the Star Wars pop-up bar there.
Yeah. So I think it would be in the same place. They change it every couple of months, and they change their theme. And it was a Super Mario themed when I was there. So I had a mushroom cocktail. It was like themed after like the one up, the power up mushrooms. But
yeah.
I actually had mushroom in the cocktail. It was quite decent. Like,
what were the other components of the cocktail?
Pomegranate.
Like if it's like a 1-up cocktail, it needs to have something like a Red Bull with some sort of like energy.
No. It had well, I can't even remember what was in it, but it was good. It was really tasty. And we were talking about this the other day, actually. I went to Bannerman's and it had Joker IPA on tap, which is you don't get that very often. So it was nice to see that on the tap. And I was telling Stu this, John. Like I went to the toilet and we're in do you know Bannerman's in Edinburgh? So on like the Cowgate. It's like an old rock bar, but it's like quite cavernous. So if you want to go to the toilet, you have to kind of go. So I went
like most places in Edinburgh, yeah. You got to go to the toilet, you got to go down the stairs, and yeah.
I went in and there was like 20. When I first went in to meet my friends, there was like 20 guys dressed as like golfers, like on a stag hen do thing. And they were all dressed as golfers and were quite rowdy. And then I went to the toilet, and when I came back like 5 minutes later, there was no golfers left. The pub was almost empty apart from my mates, looking like oh my god. And it turned out there'd been like a mad, like in the time I'd been away, somebody had said something sectarian, and there'd just been a bigger riot in the pub, and like bouncers were around and everything. Like I genuinely, like it was that he was like, it was one of those things where like genuinely I left the room, it started, and it was all over just as I came back. It's like total mad. But
hey guys, what did I miss?
And I missed the fight. Yeah. guys.
Hands.
Yeah. What's everyone up to this weekend? Anyone doing anything exciting, Geekery, before we call it a night?
Well, Jeff, what are we doing this weekend?
I am going to be watching Josh Barnett's Bloodsport from the moment we come off air, and that'll be my second wrestling show of 12 between now and Monday morning, and
Jeez.
I'm going to squeeze a beer festival in there in the middle as well. So it's all good. How are you, Stu?
I'm looking forward to the beer festival.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a big swally in Fairmont. on Saturday. It's gonna be good fun.
Sounds good, yeah. Well, I think I'll be going with a couple of the other Brewgooders off to Comic-Con Livingston.
Yeah.
I think Colin and Andrew are going to go through on Saturday, so I might go through with them. I'll have Saturday off, so I might head through, see what's happening.
It's supposed to be quite big, isn't it? Whereabouts in Livingston is it? Is it the
I think it's the Amandale Centre.
So the shop is that the shopping centre?
Yeah, it's inside there. Yeah. Well, they say it's big, but it's 60 vendors, so it's not big. But they've got they've got the tumbler and stuff like that. They've got the Batmobile and stuff.
Oh, so is it BGCP?
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah. So maybe okay.
60 vendors is good. Like
we'll have the usual people. We'll have like Simon Forrester and whatnot there, but Michael Philp won't be there. He'll be is it Deacon who'll be it? I think Rycon. One of those, yeah. Rycon, I think up in Rycon, yeah.
They're doing Rycon Glasgow this year. I think that was pretty cool, actually. I was they've got Rycon Glasgow in the same room that they have Acme in this year. So that'll be pretty mad, actually. But yeah, it's a big weekend for cons, but that one in Livingston sounds quite the tumbler and that'll be well smart.
Yeah. So I'll maybe head through, see what happens. You never know. Life might get in the way. Who knows?
Tumbler's my favourite Batmobile. I'm just holding it out there. Don't know what anyone else thinks. But
I don't know. I saw the Adam West Batmobile in person a couple of times, and that's nice.
I saw it in the Transport Museum. It is actually really nice. Yeah,
it was at Acme. It was at Acme. Yeah. So and the Keaton Batmobile too. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, it's good. It's nice to see a Batmobile. The Adam West one is cool. The 89 one's smart as well. I think it was my favourite before the Tumbler, but then I quite like the Tumbler. And then I like is it the one in is it Capital Sci-Fi Con that do the different they have the bit out the back sometimes where you go through and they'll have like a Batmobile and they'll have like a car from Transformers, and it's always really smart when you can just kind of like the mystery machine from Scooby Doo will be there and stuff, and it's just like it's quite cool, like just being able to go around and see like famous cars. So.
I've got a picture of me and Christopher Lloyd with the DeLorean.
Oh, well, you win again.
That's a good picture.
You win this one, John Bruce.
that was a good weekend. Yeah, I was like, holy shit! Yeah, Doc Brown in the DeLorean. And there's me next to him. I'm like, hey.
Yeah, it's well smart, man.
That's cool. Yeah.
It's good about those events as well. Like they have that stuff at Acme, but often like you're trying to stand and pose next to it and get someone to photograph you, and other folk are like standing in front of you so they can get their or they're right to the other side. And whereas when you get like these, obviously you pay for like to stand next to Christopher Lloyd with a car properly and it'll be framed properly, and that the picture will be.
Yes, yeah. It was a professional photo shoot one. Yes, so it was got a nice digital copy, a nice hard copy as well.
That's welcome. So yeah. So anyone got anything else they wanted to blather about before we call it quits tonight?
I'm looking around.
You two do it. Andrew doesn't, but you two always look off camera as if you're trying to like.
I do have lots of post-it notes on my wall, but none of that. I've got a Mandalorian calendar. None on that.
Yeah, no, I'm just sketch cards in it, doing some prep finish off. I've got a Marvel set just arrived as well, so I've got a Marvel sketch card set to do. Yeah, that's about it. Just get all these card sets out of the way, and then hopefully I'll attempt to do something for a potential Brewgooders anthology.
Yeah, I've not got a lot of stuff for it yet, but folk are starting to ask questions, so I might put a deadline out there and just say like, can I get folk, if folk want to contribute, please message us by the end of April or something, so I think we've got enough interest for half an anthology, so I'm hoping that like I can share the word out a wee bit. So yeah, if anyone's watching and wants to contribute to our anthology, just get in touch and we'll see what we can do. Like I do have Michael Philp is working alongside. The guy's name escapes me, but a creator got in touch with me with some really good stories. Like a writer got in touch with me about scripts, and they were all really good. So I was just like, yeah, just pick one that you want drawn, and then Michael Philpott has offered to draw it, so that'd be good.
Awesome.
And so yeah, there's exciting stuff starting to bubble. I just checked there now. Glass City got another like 15 quid while we were on air, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, so he's now at £298, which is pretty smart.
Awesome.
So yeah, the links in the description, and obviously anything you can do to help Gary, our guest today, Gary Chudeigh, get over the line as well. He's not got far to go. It's just great, like that as an independent comic scene and like fans, we can help creators bring their dreams to life. So make it happen, folk. Right, team.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Everyone enjoy themselves. I'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.